There you go.
All right, we're all set up.
If you can, put earphones and
I have.
kill the audio.
One, and here's the other one. How is it, Dotto?
Very good.
You look good, man. La gente là ci vedono tutto pure.
Now they hear you, huh?
Hi, guys.
I think they hear you.
I don't know. They're
No,
pretending. Where are you? At home or at the office?
I'm at home now. For
Me too.
once.
Oh my God. What a day. That's it for the cigarette. But I don't hear them.
Yeah, because I think you're only going to hear them when once they talk into the mic.
Okay. It's pretty clear though, eh? This actually look at that. I can even expand the thing here.
Yeah, you can get rid of me and actually expand the screen.
Yeah, man. I got rid of half of your face.
But if you click on the actual board meeting itself, you can actually see you'll see the full screen.
Where do I click on that?
Just click on the screen itself.
Okay, either way. I like it better this way. Not troppa gente, eh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
No.
8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. You don't have these old man glasses, you, eh?
No, not yet.
It's gonna come.
It's coming. I feel it. I feel it coming.
Mm.
Al, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you guys? I can hear Alex.
No, I can barely hear them.
You hear us?
Oh wait, I could raise my. Hello. I'll say something.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Nothing. Can you hear us now? Not long distance, the microphone. You hear us now?
You hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes, I hear.
How about with the microphone?
Yeah, much better.
Gotta use the microphone then.
Yeah, much better.
Let's hear. This is for the members. Yeah, I'll pass it around. Sure. Absolutely. Got the red sign, 50-yard line. Here. Let's stand, baby.
You've been busy today, Alex?
Oh yeah.
I'm going nuts.
Thank you so much. I thought you meant us. Hey, Dad. How
Now
are
I
you?
can hear everybody. You?
Pardon me?
I can hear everybody now.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
There's your wife.
There's the wife.
Amori. That's right. That's what we're both smiling. Stiamo zoom. We get a piece of paper here.
You want to say a couple
Emailed you, but it doesn't work, right?
I didn't know without this they can't.
Changing the order of the agenda.
Did you know that? Before they gotta talk in the mic.
Gotta talk on the mic.
Seven o'clock.
What happened?
Uh-oh.
I only see Sherry.
What?
I only see you, Sherry.
Somebody hit her? What happened?
Oh my god. Hang on a sec. Hang on, guys.
No.
She wants to be center attention.
Not Sherry.
I know. I knocked something.
I only see you, Sherry.
I know
Yeah,
that. I know that.
Because it's going right through the MacBook right now and not through the GoPro. Something got disconnected.
Can you call? Can you call Bo? I don't know how to. I don't know what to do.
Saying they're telling you what to do. Alex was telling
Alex, what should I do?
I have no idea. I asked Bo to document everything, but I guess it didn't get done.
Can Marla call Bo?
Try pushing escape.
God.
No, I don't know what.
Okay, hang on. I have it on my phone. I'll go call him.
I think it's bad signal here still.
Here, pal.
Technical difficulty. Trying to get Bo back now. All right, get started and I think I can hear us. Howard, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can't hear us. No audio, no video.
Las casas.
Robanat. Dapat. You calling me?
No, I'm calling Sherry.
I know, I'm just pretending.
We could start. We're going to introduce the guys.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Everyone can sit down, please, in the back. Joel?
Won't even answer her phone.
We're having some technical difficulties. We lost 2 of our board members, but hopefully they'll be back. We don't want to hold things up, so I can get going.
Roll call.
Yeah, so roll call, certification of quorum. The Hopkins Board President.
All right, so third, second vice president,
Director.
Lawrence Lee, Ian Moldowski, secretary.
Yes, as required by the state. 8-hour notice.
Reading and approval of January 2015, the board, we have already reviewed the minutes, and anyone wants a motion to approve the minutes? One, motion, anyone, second? Seconded, thank you. Okay, folks, we'd like to thank you all for being here, and thank you for those who regularly listening on hopefully. Tonight is the very first and very informative meeting that we'll be having for the next several months. We have spent the last weeks working on engineering choices, design details, while going to great lengths.
You understand any of this, Alex? You understand?
That's again.
We tried to minimize the effects
So
of all
maddening.
of
I
this
told him to
over
document
in terms of disruptions in our units and in financial impact. I ask you again, that we all speak to one another with respect to
She's coming back now.
Any positive comments about our last board meeting, and thanks to your cooperation with the facility as we did.
Sherry, Bo's trying to reach you.
We're going to change the order of
Sherry?
the agenda a little bit.
I can
called
hear
them.
us.
We have some experts with us tonight who will talk about one of our very serious issues in the building. I ask that
carefully, and please hold all your questions until the end to allow us to and them to explain to you what needs to be done. They're back? Okay. Good, welcome back, guys. We're just starting.
Yeah, well, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
You can hear us, though?
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear
we
you,
see-
Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, we see you.
You look terrific. Okay.
When it comes time to ask questions, please stand, mention your name and your unit number. So the first order of business will be the riser project. And I'm going to ask Rick Berman and Dan Norton to explain to us exactly what is involved. Before I do that, I just want to give you a very brief intro of what I'm talking about when I talk about risers. And I've learned from the engineers that we're fortunate to have on our board. The risers, the cold water, the chilled water, Alex, chilled water, are in serious condition. All the risers in the building have to be done. You may recall, I think it was the previous board or perhaps the board before that, had mentioned this project, and they had even identified certain lines, and some of us were told that our lines were going to be done. The work was never done, but now we must absolutely proceed. We have been ordered by the magistrate to complete the 04 line. So any apartment whose last 2 numbers end with 04, you will be going first. For some, the risers are located in your closets, and for some, the risers are located in your bathrooms. Unfortunately, we will all be inconvenienced by this project. You may want to hold off any renovations depending on where your risers are located in your units. Please do not ask us when your line will be done, as we do not have this information at this time. We will send out a schedule as soon as we know. Again, the 04 line will be done very soon, and you folks will be advised. And once the experts have examined the situation, we will be in a better position to advise you how long things will take and approximately when your unit will be done. Please give them your attention and hold all the questions till the end. Rick, Dan, you'd like to go ahead?
Good evening. My name's Rick Berman from the Water Restoration Group. We've been asked to put together a program to address the issues that you have with your current riser problem. As you know, that the actual project itself is going to entail in removing the current insulation that is very much deteriorated and creating the problems that you have with condensation that's creating mold, that's creating water damage. So the process will be to open up the walls, to remove the current insulation that you have, and beneath that layer of insulation, and I'll let Dan get into a little bit more details on that, is a wrap that contains asbestos, which makes the project much more difficult. It is a federally regulated issue. We have to follow guidelines that are very much strictly enforced. But we are prepared to set a pretty aggressive schedule of completion for what's got to be done. Once the asbestos is removed, there's going to be an inspection of the walls within those chase riser lines. A lot of them contain mold on the drywall. So anything that's discovered in that process is going to be removed during our operation. Our prospective schedule is to be approximately 1 week from the beginning to the end of the process of removing it, removing the insulation, having it inspected, and it's something that was discussed, and I don't know if we've made a decision on that, to have an inspection on the piping, the thickness of the piping. Correct. So that's going to add a day to that process as well. So it's probably going to be anywhere from 7 to 10 days for the complete process to be completed. Dan Norton, who per unit. Correct, not the whole project, far from that. But we will be doing concurrently some units, so we hope to have the riser done within a couple of weeks. But each individual unit will be out for approximately 7 to 10 days. Sure. Robert Lozano is going to tell you with a process of removing of the pipe wrap and any asbestos and mold containing product.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Fine looking crowd. My name is Robert Lozano. I'm a Florida licensed asbestos contractor, Florida licensed mold contractor. The procedures that we are going to be using to perform the remediation and the abatement of the pipe insulation and the mold is going to involve placing protective flooring, plastic, sealing up the entrances to the work area, poly containments. There will be appropriate signs on them, and the areas where we will be conducting our work will be off limits for the duration of the project until we turn the work area back over to you guys. There will be a slight inconvenience to you guys as we work in those areas, but I would just please ask that you stay away from them. After the completion of the removal, Mr. Dan Norton, while the containments are still erect and in place, Mr. Dan Norton will be coming in, performing a visual inspection, performing post-remediation testing. After the successful completion of those air testing to ensure that the work area has satisfactorily been removed and completed, then the next phase of reconstruction, testing, and reinstallation will commence. So expect to see paper protective flooring on your units, and as well as poly containment areas separating the work area from non-work areas. So please keep in mind that this is a sterile environment, it's a clean environment, and our intentions are not to go in there and remove any more than what's absolutely necessary in order to perform our project.
One other thing that you need to be aware of, because it can be of an inconvenience to some people. We are going to be placing equipment within the contained area and also just outside of the containment area. The equipment's going to consist of two, what they call air scrubbers, which are HEPA cleaning devices. They're cleaning the air of any debris and particulates that may be there, both mold and asbestos related. And also we're going to be placing a dehumidifier, which is going to try and dry down the area because it is very wet within those chase lines. Because after we're done with removing everything, we have Steve from B&I who's going to be coming in as the mechanical contractor to re-insulate all those pipes. So we're going to have to run dehumidification for an additional day to try and dry that area down before they put the re-insulation in. Otherwise, we could have a problem with that installation if it's not dried properly. And after that's done, they're going to be doing the testing of the pipes itself prior to the re-insulation, but after we're done and drying them out. They're going to do a test of the pipes to make sure they're in good condition before they seal them back up. We seal the walls up, and the whole system starts again with a problem. So we want to prevent that problem. But I'm going to give it to Dan. He can talk a little bit about what his process is for the testing and the evaluation.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Dan Norton from Florida Air Quality Solutions. During this project, I will be your project monitor and clearance testing. What that means is we will be here when Robert's working, or one of my technicians will be here to make sure Robert does the job appropriately within regulation and that we don't have a cross-contamination issue. And we will also do clearance testing for both mold and asbestos once he is done with the work area and we visually inspect it and it's clean. The clearance testing will will include a PCM air test for asbestos and a mold test for mold, of course. We get those results within 24 hours of collecting them. So that will be a day in the project, but we've already included that in the calendar.
Steve, you want to talk a little bit about your process, just the insulation and also the testing?
That's what it is. There is a possibility, very slim, but it is a possibility that some of the pipes need to be replaced. We don't know that. We're going to be doing testing while we edit. If we have to replace the piece of pipe that is too thin or just need to be replaced, that may be some additional work, so just everybody be prepared.
Does anybody have any questions other than when is your turn? Yes.
Please give the mic. Please give a mic to the audience members, please.
Yeah, we just did.
Ross, Unit 1211. My question was, has a contract been let? From the sounds of things, it has. And what is the extent of the contract?
The contract, we have contracted them for the 04 line because it's an emergency, and we've been mandated by the magistrate to do it within 120 days. And that was starting from about 3 weeks ago, right, Al? So we're under the clock with them. We have, they have provided us with a bid. This was considered an emergency, and going forward, we're going to go look for 2 other bids for the remaining risers. I'm sorry, your second question, Morty, was? Do you want to pass them the?
Don't we have 2 mics there?
I'm here only till May, and then I'm going back to Toronto and coming back in November. What's happened if you start working in my apartment when I'm not here?
Well, all I can say is we have the keys to your apartment. We're not going to go in without advising you, that's for sure. So we will.
I understand, but should we prepare? We have to clean up the apartment from closet and stuff like that.
Sorry, you're leaving when? Like in April?
Beginning of May.
Well, we hope to have a schedule in place, so hopefully before you leave, we will know, and you will know if the risers are located in your closet or if they're in your bathroom, so that you can do what you have to do. We don't have much details at this point, because until they go in and actually do the 04 line to see how bad the risers are, at that point we'll have a better idea of, you know, how long, what exactly occurred, and how much damage, etc. But we promise to communicate with all of you. As soon as we know, you will know. Pat's been standing wanting to ask a question.
Give him the mic. I can't hear anything.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm going to repeat what you just said so that other parties that may not have heard you.
Yeah, sorry, without the mic, we don't hear anything.
Right.
Zero.
What you're requesting to do is know if we're going to have a detailed schedule and a scope of work so you understand. I was just talking to Robert here, but the unit owners that are affected in our schedule, we plan on meeting with you either individually or as a smaller group at the time so we can explain that process just prior to that taking place. One of the issues that we have to address, and we do not want to end up removing contents. It's something that typically it's not part of our scope of work. So if we're working in a closet, we do know that there are some built-ins, there is clothing, there is many items that may be in that area. From what I understand in the past in dealing with Jose, is that they've been able to assist that and they've taken stuff down and then reinstalled it afterwards. So that's something we'll discuss prior to the commencement of the work. But we're really big on communication. We're going to make sure that you understand what we're doing. We want to. Yes, absolutely. You. Yeah, you will have a written scope of work of what we plan on doing, how it's going to be done, what this chain of events is going to be, who's going to be in there, what this, who's starting, who's following up, who's following after that, what the conclusion is, and then how we turn it over and say we're done. Because after we're done, there's still a reconstruction phase that has to be done. We're a full-blown general contractor. We do repairs. We do install things, but we're not assuming at this point in time. We'll discuss it with the board if they want us to put the bid together to put things back. One of the things that is not included in what we're going to be doing is the finishes. And when a wall's taken off, the drywall goes back. That's the responsibility of the association. If I misspeak and there's other things you're saying, please correct me. But typically, the association puts the drywall back, and the unit owners are responsible for paint or wallpaper or finishes, crown molding, baseboard, et cetera. So that's something that's not in our scope of work, but it is something that I imagine you're going to want to address before you're completed with everything.
Okay. I have a question, please. Apartment 1201, Boris Levin, my name. I spent a lot of money to fix my apartment. Just recently, probably less than 1 year. And all my walls and all my ceiling was open. I call contractors, they check all insulation for risers, and everything was dry and nice. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not gonna let you destroy my apartment. I will put lock inside, and I am not gonna let you come inside my apartment. I'm telling you right now. 1201.
I'd like to say a word about it. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody.
Yeah, please. Do you mind, Louise? I don't mind. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'm leaving in 10 days, so I'm kind of out of when you're going to be sending this out. Is there a way anybody can come into the apartment to let us know where our risers are so that we ourselves can empty the closet or wherever it would be? Yeah, because we all should know where it is. I don't want somebody going through my things and emptying my closet and doing whatever. I'd rather do it.
I guess for all of those who are leaving early, then yes, we would definitely want to accommodate you, but not, we don't, all 327 unit owners don't all come at once. But for those of you who will be leaving, yes, I think Jose would be able to tell us quickly, or maybe we can actually put out I can put out an email. We can identify the lines where the riser's on and send it out that way. We'll look into something and get that out to you.
Okay, because 10 days isn't very long to start doing all of this.
I want to say a comment.
Excuse me. Could I ask could I ask what a riser is? I don't know what you're talking about. I just came in.
Only Jose knows exactly where risers are in each apartment.
Well, what is a riser?
What is the riser you're asking?
Yes.
It's a pipe that's bringing cold water to your air conditioning. You don't have a free one there. You have a cold water coming into the coils, and the coils are under your ceiling, and the cold water is going there. And there's a few lines that have bathrooms. That was going to be the hardest one. We do not have a decision how we're going to do it yet. We know that some people spend a lot of money decorating bathroom, putting expensive tiles. We will talk about it. We're not ready to answer that. We know this is a problem. Those lines will not go first. They'll probably be the last one because they're in the best condition. They still have to be done. No question about it. Every line will be done. We'll have to accommodate everybody. We will look into that, and we understand this is a problem. We have no decision yet.
Just so you understand, we will do our best to do the least amount of damage to everybody. We do this all the time, not just because of this circumstances, but when we have water damage. We do our best to be the least invasive that we can, and we'll look at options. Sometimes there's a tile wall on the inside of a bathroom that has to be accessed. Possibly we can go through the wall on the other side and get done what we have to do without destroying the tile. We're not going to come in and just start tearing things apart. We're going to look at what the best solution is and the least costly solution is. So we will be, we're very good at communicating. Robert, who's the project manager for us, always makes sure everybody knows what's going on, to the point of too much sometimes. But we will definitely keep you informed of everything that we can that's affecting your unit. And as far as the riser stacks themselves, once everybody can identify which one they're in, everyone in that stack is the same situation with the exception of the top floor, the penthouse, and the first floor. The rest of them, 2 through 15 or 16, through 16 is the same. So you will be able to know what you have to be up against for each of those. So we'll get a schedule out to you as soon as possible for each of those. Again, we're going to meet with Jose. He's more intimately involved with the building than we are at this point. But we do know what we're up against in the first 2 that we've looked at.
Good night. I'm in 304. You were in my apartment like 3 weeks ago. First of all, I want to thank this board because I've been facing this issue for 3 years, and now someone is taking care, and I'm very glad of it. I just have a question. You just said 7 to 10 days per unit? That's my question.
Microphone, please.
We're going to be working on more than 1 unit at a time, but for Steve to get his work done, which is the re-insulation of the pipes and the testing of the pipes, all of the walls are going to have to be open at once for him to come back and do what he has to do. He will be able to re-insulate at in a time period far less than what we have to do. So, you want to touch base on that, what your schedule is?
Add one
When we, excuse me, when we insulate those risers, we're also going to be redoing the fire penetrations around the riser that it goes between the slabs. There's going to be a 2-hour rating of fire caulk that's going to go completely around where the physical riser goes through the floor. So we're going to make it a lot more safer inside these walls as well. So just keep that in mind. That's also included in the program that we're doing.
Hi, I'm Pat Pino, apartment 320. I just want to understand this. When you take down the drywall and you fix the riser in our apartment, you will put the drywall back up again and paint? No paint. You'll put the drywall back up again immediately, or this is going to take a new contractor? Oh, okay. Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
Microphones, please.
Thank you. You need the mic.
My name is Wes, Unit 316. Talking about people who leave in soon, or instead of just going one by one, everybody, as you mentioned, have the same structure of units, line by line by line. Why not to send everybody email with location of their risers?
Yes,
and in this case, you don't have to wait till somebody notifies. Jose don't have to answer everybody coming to him, where is my riser? What's going to happen? Just send to everybody.
I would say it's, let me answer that question. It's a good idea, probably Steve or somebody from you guys, to make a sketch, because they all floors are typical, they're exactly the same. Make a sketch, show the risers, not in a scale, but at least make something which is visible and understandable where those risers are located. And one question to you, Steve. Did you submit what kind of insulation you're going to use? We need to see that, yeah, approve it.
Yes, just to answer further, the question was asked before, and I said that we will send an email blast to everybody so you will have an idea of where your risers are located. This is just happening. I mean, I wanted to bring it to the board meeting today because it's urgent that we do the 04 line. So it's not that we're holding back information. We really don't have any more information than what we're telling you, and that's why we asked these folks to come. Yes, we asked these folks to come today to explain it to you, but we will communicate. As I said before, when we know, you will know.
Louise Muscarella-Doxson, 1007. I understand now this is just the 04 line for now, but it looks to me like it might be a 3-year project for all 327 units. Well, that's my math. I was doing a week per unit, 52 weeks in a year.
No, but we're going to be doing some simultaneously.
More than one.
One
okay.
yes, more than one at a time.
A lot of us will have a lot more time to think about this, and I guess I would prefer to leave town for this to occur in my little studio. Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, we're going to be doing the most, Jose and team do know which are the more urgent lines, so we will be attacking those lines first.
I'm Norman Bergen, apartment 1508.
Ocean 7.
I just want to say one thing. We don't have a choice. It's very simple. You know, we live in a corporation. The building needs to have things done for the corporation to grow and get better. If we don't do this, it's just more decay. So we have to go according to the board, go according to these gentlemen or whoever does the work, and get it done so we can start living normally in a beautiful home together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Any more questions? We're going to pass.
That's it?
I think we have to.
All right. Thank you all for being here and for sharing all of your information with us, and we look forward to the communications from you guys as well so that we can share it with our residents. Oops, sorry. One more. Last one. Okay. Okay, or Jose, how quickly could we find out where the risers are in the lines? Is that something we can do? She's 04, so you'll be done very soon. Master bedroom?
Marla, can I comment, please?
Sure, Alex,
Do you
go
hear me?
ahead. Yep, we hear you.
Some time ago, we received some very primitive mechanical drawings of the building, which does show certain locations of these risers. Now, if the building was built according to those drawings, hopefully those risers will be in the right location. So we already have a very good idea where they're located within the apartment units.
Okay, so we'll put a rush on trying to get the communication out to the residents.
And
so that you'll have an idea.
one last thing,
Sure.
seeing that the group is still there, I just want to clarify that the work is 1 week per line.
Please,
7 to 10 days per line, right?
Microphone, please. Can you hand them a microphone, please?
I think she disconnected it again.
Again, we're looking at a process of a week to 10 days for the entire line, not for each unit.
I don't hear him.
Yeah, because they're hiding
Also,
the mic.
Let's clarify a couple of things. Number one, we're talking, when we talk days, we're talking about business days, so we're not including weekends. So from a calendar perspective, you're probably looking at a good 2 weeks, and part of this schedule is going to be the determination of what we discover within those chase walls or the riser walls as we open them. I'm going to walk over here and just give you an example of, just say this right here is a riser wall. So we're going to start by opening up a single wall to get access to the pipes, or 2 walls from both sides. But we don't know the condition of the drywall within those walls because of the amount of moisture that's been going on for years. So what we're giving you is a best case scenario, but a worst case scenario is not that much different, because once we start to tear stuffing out, it goes pretty quickly. So I would give you a worst case scenario of a stack of 3 weeks of a riser stack for the entire stack, because again, Steve's crew can't come in and start re-insulating the pipes if they're not all open. He has to have that entire area from top to bottom available to re-insulate. And just in the last week, we discovered how much more piping there is and how much more insulation there is on the penthouse floor and on the first floor. It's going to make a big difference in what we originally thought in the amount of work that has to be done and what has to be potentially torn out. Those two units potentially have a lot of more demolition that has to be done. It's just not a single little riser. It's going out into another room, potentially into a second room. So again, as we go along, we will do our best to inform you immediately of what we're discovering and communicating to make sure.
Also, I would like to make everyone aware that we have roughly around 60 risers in the building. So just to tell you how many there are.
Okay, last. Yes. Well, the next in line is the 07 line. That's all we know so far. Jose, correct me if I'm wrong. So far, we know 04 and 07, and there are many, but so far that's 04, 07. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to have to move on. I promise you, as I said before, when we know, you will know. There's no secrets here. We are all affected by this, so as unpleasant as it is, we don't have a choice. Thank you. After. All right, thank you.
Microphone, please.
Rick just said that the people in the 04 line, they will be communicating. We will be communicating with them to advise them exactly what will be going on. So we're not just going to come in and rip up your walls. All right, thank you. Thanks again. Thanks. Okay, let's move along. 28. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, please, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, please, please. It's here. Okay, so the next item is, I just wanted to mention the valet. Please. For the record, I just want to announce that Lucas has chosen to leave. We did not ask him to leave. He has been replaced by another valet. We wanted to thank him for his service. He left, I think, about 2 days ago. We currently have 2 valet employees, and there's a third one that usually comes on during the Christmas period. And we've been having complaints recently, so we're looking at what we should do to make your valet issues a little bit easier. Yeah, we're going to be
Idiot, and there was just no place to go because
Yes.
people come up and they park the cars.
Yeah.
They left the keys because they got tired of waiting.
Yeah.
People were coming with their groceries.
We're looking at all that. And while we're talking about cars, please, I mean, we've posted signs everywhere. Please, if you arrive in your parking spot and there is someone in your spot, please do not go and park in someone else's spot. Go to the valet, give them your key, say someone is in my spot. Please have that person moved. Please park my car there, and you don't even have to tip them if you don't want.
Well, we need another valet
Lucas.
on Sundays with people coming in with picnic.
We're going to look. That's what we're reevaluating. We're
Yes.
reevaluating all that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The next item is security. I believe that Clyde wants to say a few things.
Security is a very, very important issue for all of us, and the safety of every resident in our building. We have decided to hire a new security company, and they will start next week at the beginning of next month. They will have a new protocol that will be established. We're taking their protocol that the security committee, which we have formed and met today, we will come up with a protocol. And we've also asked them, the new company, they have many buildings around here, to try and pull the best protocol from each one. And if there's something they can add to our new protocol, please do it. So we will have a very, very good protocol. Now, the first thing that they're doing, and they've already started, you may have noticed in the front that their desk has been torn apart. We are redoing, at their cost, a new facility there. The desk will be, or the platform will be raised higher. The screens will be down below where they can see it, not break their necks looking at it. And they will be very, very attentive to that. And they also are going to be constructing another desk by the service entrance. So there will be someone there. Now, the security will have a concierge at the front, which is a security guard, but they will be dressed as a concierge to give the building a little uplift. And then there will be a rover, and the rover will do their duty and do what they have to around the building. I'll go into a few minutes what they're going to do. And then after they do their job, the rover at the entrance, where the service entrance, when the contractors come in, there's going to be a new procedure there that the contractors will give their license or their ID to the rover, which the person will keep that until they leave the building. And it will be at the desk in the office. Now, the office closes at 5, so they have to be out of the building before. So that will eliminate some of the noise after and the contractors staying here when they shouldn't be. So that's just one thing there. And then they can get their ID back. And I think they'll move to get their IDs back, their driver's license or whatever, they have to leave. We're also talking about a new ID system coming into the building. Security is our main issue to protect everybody in this building and have the people on the outside know they just can't walk in here and piggyback after someone. And we are going to come up with some kind, besides our fob, an ID system that everybody's going to have to show their ID coming into this building. And we talked about that, and also renters will have a different color ID, so we can identify, that was there, identify that. And speaking of Eric, I have to say, he has been unbelievable with the security. We just didn't go to one security company. Eric and all of us on the phone or wherever interviewed several, how many, I don't know, 3 or 4 companies, and I'll get to that, and decided on this particular one because we liked what they had to say and what they were willing to do for us. The parking issue is going to be updated, and we're going to have a list that everybody will have in the office at the front desk of whose spot it is, so they will know. And in addition to that, security-wise, if there is someone that comes late at night and goes to their spot, wants to go to their spot, and is a little uneasy about going by themselves from the car into the building, stop by the security, and they will call the rover and have the rover meet you downstairs and escort you to inside the building. They're not going to be carrying packages, so please. So, well, and if they take it, we'll fire them. So, to help security, and the security group met today, and on the security committee, it's Eric, myself, Ken Goldfein, Rick Lechner, and Joel Aronson. And we're coming up with a little bit of our protocol. Casey, outside, he is going to give us what he feels he needs in addition. So all of that will be put together, and our security company will take care of that. The security company will also have a daily log that the committee or PAL, they can look at every day. They're going to supply us with digital reports. They will have laptop devices, and it'll be a GPS electronic monitoring as they go around to their different areas that have to log in. So we know they're not going to be sleeping or on the phone somewhere. That's all gone. They're each going to have a radio, of course, so they can speak to each other. They're going to have body cameras. So if there's any issues, everything is going to be recorded. Now, these are things that they had suggested on their own, so we feel, these are the right people. They are also putting in several cameras in addition to what we have around the building. And they also are going to have a drone. As crazy as it sounds, that every once in a while will go up, make sure the windows are closed, and if they see issues. They're not taking pictures inside the windows. No. That's, but if someone has a barbecue on their terrace or is doing something they shouldn't be out there, they will know that. Then we also are going to update the rules and regulations that the building has. That also will be updated, and the City of Hollandale, the police department, they have a unit that will assess the building strictly for safety, and they will suggest different projects or things to do to change, enhance the safety of the building. They were here this last week. We went around, it was Eric, Al, Jose, oh boy. And we spent quite a bit of time, and there's quite a list of issues that they came out, a suggestion, and which Eric wrote down. We are going to incorporate this and take care of what they suggest. We have a very good rapport with the police department. We also, as I mentioned, the last meeting with the EMS and the fire department. And that'll even get better. They know really are on board with them, and we support them. And of course, they support us. And I guess that's it on my report. Eric? Oh, sure.
South Florida Security. I just wanted to say something because I can't believe Clyde left this out. We're going to have 2 defibrillators in the building. One's going to be located in the lobby. The other one's going to be located on the pool deck. In the contract that we signed with the South Florida security firm, all of these security guards are CPR trained and will be trained in the use of the defibrillator as well.
They have to be recertified every year.
Yeah. Boy, you said you only had 3 minutes. That was a long 3 minutes. I'm just joking. Just one other thing I forgot to mention, 2 things with the valet. The valets will now be located outside. We've requested a brand new podium from Park One, the valet company who represents us. So as residents, guests arrive, they will be greeted outside by the valet person. What we've also decided is for packages, when packages are received, obviously if they're very large packages, they will come through the freight entrance. Smaller packages will be received at the security desk, and they will be put in the actual little security room. There's a closet there, or cupboard, cupboard or closet, I'm not sure what you use in the States. But anyhow, they'll be put there. The larger package will be put in the valet room where they used to be, for those of you who remember. So, so that's what I had forgotten to say. Everything's coming. Please hold all questions to the end. Okay. One item that was not on the agenda that I wanted to just mention is because it occurred yesterday is that we had a legal case against us. Florida Lamarck was suing us and had put a lien on the building. For those of you who do not know, it's been about, I guess, 2 years or so. So that was for the concrete restoration, pool deck, etc. There was some discussions going on that they didn't do the work. They say they did do the work. And this board has been reviewing this very complicated case for several weeks now. We have met with many councils, the management company, and 3 of us spent 8 hours yesterday in the room with Florida Lamarck and a mediator to try to come to some settlement. So the original claim was for $285,000, and we settled at $185,000. You may recall that we mentioned at the last board meeting that the monies were put aside, so it's not something that we have to go looking for. It was felt that a lengthy legal battle with no guaranteed positive outcome, which would only cost thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight. And as I mentioned, council had advised us it was in our best interest to settle. So we're going to put that behind us. We have obtained some warranties. Unfortunately, the work does need to be done. And in a few minutes, I'm going to be handing out a list of items or projects that we will be doing. So I just wanted to mention that. I wanted to thank Eric was with me and Leo was with me for a very long day yesterday, and all the other board members were on the phone with us making the final decision. So Florida Lamarck is done. The lien will be removed very soon as they obviously get their pay, their check. Questions later, sorry, Pat. So that's the one thing that I wanted to add. Old business laundry room update. I hope you all saw the email that we sent out that the contract was signed. Steve Seibelman, the fellow who was sitting at the end, who will be insulating our pipes, he walked in this evening and said to me that he went to the city, requested the permits, and he hopes to have a start date to start demolition on March the 5th. So we're hopefully looking at 12 weeks. Don't hold me to 12 weeks, but it's actually finally going to start. So in answer to the question of the laundry, that, I don't know. We'll talk after, questions after, sorry. Yes, so it's going to finally start. We are now, as I think we mentioned, there was a contract with the previous board to rent machines. I think we mentioned last meeting that we are looking at purchasing machines. So now that we know we've got the start to go ahead with the laundry, we will be looking at purchasing machines. And we will update you as soon as we know, you will know. Okay? Sherry, do you mind handing the, Sherry Burns? A 3-year plan. I just wanted to share with everybody. We put out a couple of items, not a couple of items, the serious items that need to be done. I think I titled the must-dos and then the wish list, just to give you an idea of what we have. Last meeting, I don't know if you recall, I held up a document and I said that was prepared by Len Zaretsky, who did a fantastic job. We sat down, we narrowed down some of the more major urgent projects have to be done. So we're just handing that out now. If you take a look, when they'll come around to you, I don't know if there's enough for everybody, so maybe we can share. So when you have the lists in your hand, it's just one page. So you will notice that, I don't know if I have enough. You will notice that the most urgent ones deal with the humidity mold issues. Okay, we had promised that we were going to be looking at the humidity issues, and so the projects on the list, I'm not going to go over them. You can keep them. That's okay. So you're probably all wondering, will there be an assessment? Well, there will be an assessment. Unfortunately, we do not know today how much the assessment will be. We don't want to give you a number because we don't want to go too low. We don't want to go too high. The only thing that we know today is the laundry project is $405,000 to complete. That is the only number that we know. We mentioned at the last meeting that, please, ladies, please. We mentioned at the last meeting that we are getting a proper professional evaluation of the building. Once we get that, we have been meeting engineers, you name it, since we're on the board just about. And once we get that and we have a better idea of the numbers, again, when we know, you will know. We promise to communicate the numbers, but you're probably all looking at the list saying, wow, these are all significant, and they are all very significant. Unfortunately, the top items are more in number than the wish list. So We are looking seriously at doing all of these projects within our 3-year plan. And like I said, there will definitely be an assessment. I don't know when. When Eric speaks soon in his treasurer's report, he will tell you how he has been fighting tooth and nail to get us the best deals with the several banks, and he will address that briefly after. So I'm sure that's not a surprise to anyone here in the room that the word's been going around that there's assessment, so we can announce that there will be one. And again, as soon as we find out, we will let you know. Okay? Questions at the end, sorry. All right, so this was just a list that we put together from that 60-item list that Len had. A lot of the items that Len had prepared were all intertwined. I just tried to simplify them for all of us to try and understand better. Unfortunately, the items on the top, it's not really something that you'll see. It's not pretty, but as Norman stood up before and said, we don't have a choice. They have to be done. All right?
Marla, could I just add something?
Sure.
I just wanted to share with everybody that for the upper mechanical room rehabilitation, we finally got the design done. It's in the review stage, and by next week, we'll be going out for bids. So we're one step ahead of the game.
Great. Thank you. Eric?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. A couple of things. The insurance renewal came up in the month of February, and we were able to, the bottom line is we were able to actually increase some of our coverages in terms of our umbrella coverage and basically our umbrella coverage and our D&O liability coverage, which is for directors and officers. And other coverages we were able to keep even with the fire in the laundry room, which was we had to change a carrier for our general liability policy. But essentially we were able to negotiate it, and last year we paid $321,015 for insurance as a whole for all of our insurance coverages. And this year our insurance bill will be $308,509. So that's a saving of roughly $13,000, and every little bit counts. One of the other things that I do have a feeling, and when I saw this, it kind of surprised me, but the previous board, one of the things that they should be proud of is that they did put in many video cameras in the building, and that helped us negotiate our general liability coverage. But I have here a document that talks about losses that the condominium that the organization has suffered over the last several years due to simple slip and falls and people who live here suing the condominium for things that may have, that were very legitimate and some things that may not have been legitimate. Just to give you an idea, those amounts since January of 2011 through 2017, because I'm considering that we had the cameras, I'm saying we're really starting fresh this year, there was over $384,466 of money that was paid out to residents and people who worked here and such for claims that were brought against the condominium. So it's a good thing now. The video cameras are not just here for our security, but they're also here to make sure that these claims are legitimized. Just wanted to make everybody aware of that. So that's our insurance.
Just need a motion.
I would like to make a motion to accept the new insurance contract as Eric stated. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion for what?
Adopt insurance.
Yes.
To accept the policy, which had the reduction as Eric stated.
Take a vote on it.
I'm in favor.
All in favor? Motion passed.
Okay. All right, and then finally, with regard to our future assessment, I've been speaking with several different banks, trying to work out the best possible arrangements. Essentially, we're only dealing with, with very, very, large banks that specialize in condominium lending. The essential difference is they all work, or the loans are based as initially you have a line of credit where you can draw down just interest, and then you, at some point within 2 years, you can convert as much as you've drawn down from the line of credit into a long-term note, generally a 10-year note. We're thinking and we're negotiating right now whether it makes sense, and in my mind, I think it may make sense to lock in the line of the note as sooner than later, because we've lived in a very low interest rate environment for a long time. The Fed has talked about raising the short-term prime lending rate this year, possibly 3 times. Each time they raise that, it's generally a quarter of a basis point. There was a new Fed chairman that came in just recently, and generally when a new Fed chairman comes in, they don't do that. So it looks like we got away with not having the first, rate increase. So more than likely, there's going to probably be, unless something miraculous happens, and again, I can't predict the future, but more than likely, most educated and most financially savvy people believe that there will be 2 1/4 basis point interest rate raises prior to the end of this year. So with that being said, I think that when we do secure our lending, that we should more than likely lock in the interest rate as quickly as possible, rather than draw down and then lock in the rate a year from now, which could be half of an interest rate higher or more. The things that I've been able to negotiate with one particular bank that I think is going to be most favorable is banks have application fees, and I'm like, what application? And they all look at me and go, well, there's application fees, and there's this fee, and there's that fee, and I'm like, what fee? What are you talking about? So I have one particular bank that I've been able to work with, and as of now, they've agreed to not charge us certain fees that are generally charged, and also to reduce. There's always, there's doc stamps on any kind of a note. Those are just based upon a fixed amount. But there's also attorney closing fees that the banks charge us. I've been able to negotiate those as well. So I'm leaning towards one particular bank, but we haven't secured. We did get matter of fact, Al showed me a text that he just got from the bank officer that I was dealing with, who said that our initial line of credit had been approved. So we do officially have approved financing, which is great news. And we just got that literally when the meeting started. We haven't determined what the exact amount will be, because the projects that you see everything's kind of been going through this funnel and getting narrowed down to where we're now definitively getting closer to what we think is going to be, what we can accomplish in that 3-year time frame. So I'm very confident that by the next board meeting, we will have a specific amount that we will know what the assessment will be, and everybody will have a good idea as to what that assessment will be and the time frame for the assessment, and it'll start. Okay, and again, we'll save any questions till the end.
Great, thank you, Eric. Great work. The last item on the agenda before we go to questions is committees. There was not a great response from the residents for committees. The board feels that there are 2 urgent ones that we want to get going with. Clyde mentioned one of them, the security/valet. The second one is the condo rules. I do have 2 residents who have offered their services. If anyone else in the room would like to, please come and let us know, or the office. For those of you who were apparently wondering condo rules, we're looking at everything from the pool rules, the beach. Yep. There's a document, the rules and regulations that most of you have when you purchased your units. It's dated 2013. So the committees will be going through, and we really do want to set strict rules, have everybody follow the rules. As you know, in the email that you received about 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that we have discovered some illegal renters, and I asked that the residents please come forward. It's confidential. The office will not go and tell the people in question who told on them. And we are taking it seriously. We turn off the fobs. Some people have been asked to leave. Just yesterday, I think we found 3 more. So please, this is your building. You have a right to have the people who are supposed to be here. The rules, we know, are a minimum 3 months, and they are supposed to be approved by the office. We are looking at actually setting fines for people who don't follow the rules, you know, especially second offenders, that there will be heavier fines. So we are taking it seriously. Please come forward. Let's clean up the building. Let's make it safe. And like I said, people who should be here are the ones that are here. Okay? Yes. Yes, so, sure.
You just said something very important. That's the best security. Everybody in this room, because I've been working with Clyde and the security firms, and the best security is the people in this room. We need to be our own eyes and ears. And, you know, the rules that were written in 2013, I'm always hearing people, you know, now that I'm on the board, people coming up to me, you know, how come somebody's doing this, or why is that, or how could they do this, or this and that? It's like, you know, there are rules. And quite frankly, my answer to them has been, well, you know, it's been really loosey-goosey around here. And, you know, nobody wants to think that somebody is a condo commando. I hate that term. Okay? And nobody should be a condo commando. But we live in a community everybody here is home. And we should respect each other. And we should look out for each other. And we are the best eyes and ears for each other. And if there are rules, we should follow the rules. And when somebody doesn't follow the rules, you shouldn't confront them. You should have someone to go to, whether it's the security, the management office, or whether you want to write an anonymous note to the management office, whatever it is. But we don't want to hear the term loosey-goosey anymore, but we also don't want to be thought of as condo commandos. But we want to make sure that everybody can live in a safe environment. Everybody can live in an environment where their rules are followed, and you shouldn't feel embarrassed or bad for holding somebody accountable to those rules. So it has to be done in a tactful way, and that's been something that we've really been wrestling with. And I think the first place that you're seeing a sign of that is with the illegal renters that are going on here. You know, that affects everything. It affects the time you spend at the pool. It affects, you know, your parking space. It affects the laundry room. It affects, you know, it affects everything that goes on. It affects your property values. So, you know, it has to stop. And if you know who these people are, or you have an idea or a suspicion of who they are, you know, you're never going to be faulted. Never going to be faulted for doing the right thing and looking out for your neighbors. Okay, so I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Okay, just one last thing. I know, you know, we've told you there's an assessment. You've seen the lists. Not, as I mentioned before, a lot of it is not beautifying the building. I hope that some of you or most of you had noticed that there's a small change in the lobby. It's looking quite beautiful just by simply rearranging some of the furniture. I would like to thank my partner in crime for helping me rearrange some of the furniture. We changed the lighting. We had that, I don't know if you noticed, there was like a lime green over the elevators. We've changed it. Probably not everyone likes the color, but we think it's more calming and a little pretty. So we are doing what we can. Before we actually spend big money on, I shouldn't say big money, but before we spend money on making the lobby beautiful, we're trying to do what we can. I know some of you go in. We've set up tables in the lobby area for those of you who go and use your computers. Please, please try not to, some of you are rearranging the chairs. If you rearrange the chairs, maybe you can just put it back, because some people, please, for 1 second. Please, Vera. So we're trying our best to make the building look pretty without spending any money. All right, so that's all that we had to share. I'm not sure if Alex, Robert, Len, if anyone wanted to say anything else. If not, we will move to the question period. Alex, Robert?
No.
You're good?
Go ahead to question. Go ahead.
Okay, alrighty. So, wow, lots of hands up.
Please make sure you pass the mic.
Yes. Sorry, Al is walking around with the mic.
Oh, hi. I had an incident the other day where Total came and they wouldn't let him up unless he paid the $2. Total did not want to pay the $2. I promised to give it to them. It was first call in the morning. I wasn't dressed. They wanted me to come down and pay the $2. This is the most ridiculous thing. Years ago, if we had to pay for anybody, we had booklets of tickets. Do we have to pay for Total and everybody else now? The workers that come?
We can have booklets available.
Okay, let's have booklets.
Okay. Good point.
All right, I'm sorry, I didn't even know we had booklets already.
Well, we can. It's easy to do. We can have.
I mean,
if you like, it's a good point. We'll look into it. Sure.
When it happens to me, I just would pay the $2 if they contracted, but I never had to pay it up front, so we'll look into that.
Hi, I have two things. One, Batsheva, Shane House, 1108. One, I just want to point out laundry. You have dogs here. I have allergies. Can you do something when you do the laundry? Maybe a floor for the people with dogs to wash their stuff somewhere else, because I don't personally want to wash my clothes where an animal has dog hair. So I'd like to put that out to you to consider that.
Sure. Well, it's not something, unfortunately, dogs, there are people in the building who have service dogs. Our hands are very tied when it comes to service dogs. We have consulted with the lawyer to see what we can do to enforce the rules. But
Right,
when it
and-
comes to that, we're...
But maybe you could look into something, maybe having a certain laundry for people with dogs. Just putting it out there. I have bad allergies between the mold, the cigarettes, and everything else. You know, I'm suffering. I'm on a lot of medication for my allergies. So I don't need to have more to deal with when I come here.
Yeah, I can't promise you, but...
And the other thing is, this is nothing for me. The valet, one thing Lucas told me, and I pointed out to Al, you may want to look into another cart or 2 carts. Lucas cut his leg on one of the carts when I was there.
Oh.
So I don't know if you know that.
No.
Okay, so you may want to look into carts.
Thank you. Al, where are you?
Hi. She's hiding behind the wall. Fran, 1117. In the same vein as the valet, we seem to have one of the most reasonable parking fees, I guess, for daily. Is this going to change once we have a new system going?
No.
No? That'll
No.
stay?
No, same
Okay.
fees.
That's perfect.
Same
And,
fees.
My second question as well, if you were aware, the door to the ladies' bathroom at the pool level is not locking. I have mentioned this to security, and I have mentioned it to Casey, and that door, anybody can get in when we're showering.
You're aware?
Yes. Yeah. One more.
Give him a-
Yes,
give
it
him a
was
mic,
also brought
please.
to my attention that if you intend to sell and there is going to be an assessment, that the seller has to pay the full assessment up front. Is that true with this board or not?
Did we decide?
No, I can tell you by experience, when I purchased my unit, I had to pay the assessment. The seller was not obliged to pay for it. It's negotiated between the buyer and the seller, really.
Yeah, I can answer that as well. Some banks, when negotiating with the banks, they have something that's called a due-on sale clause. And some of them make that mandatory within their contracts, which basically means that whatever assessment is outstanding, when the unit is sold, the unit has to be sold, that assessment has to be paid and it's in full, okay? we're not going to have a due on sale clause in any of the contracts that we have. But when, in order to get a clear title, you're going to have to go, you're going to have to negotiate it. So different counties, and I've made real estate purchases in Palm Beach County and in Broward County and in Dade County, and they operate differently. But as of recent, traditionally when people buy a home and there's an existing assessment, the seller, people are under the impression that the seller is responsible to pay that in order to be able to sell their property. My understanding is that now it's a negotiable item, and that's the realtors work on that sale. And today it's not uncommon that it is a negotiable item, and sometimes it's paid by the seller, and sometimes it's paid by the buyer, or it's negotiated within the selling, the sale of the property. So, hope that answered the question for you.
Frank Darpino, 320. I saw your wish list for the list for the next 3 years. Has any thought been given to the valet parking, the roof on the valet parking, and the condition of that roof, the skylight? You know what I'm talking about? Any of you that are in the front of the building would see what that looks like. This is the most disgusting looking roof you ever saw in your life. You think you're in a slum.
Oh, you mean the porte cachet in the front when you pull into the building? Yes.
I'm
That
sorry. So there is thought about doing something.
Well,
with
that would be part of the wish list when we do. I personally, I mean, I don't know the rest of the board because we haven't discussed it, but we would like to see a fountain come back, and from
one
the
of the
fountain,
items. You know,
right?
curb appeal is very important. to the building.
Absolutely. From the fountain right up to the security.
This is one of the best locations in all of Hallandale,
Absolutely.
right here.
Absolutely.
So we should give it some thought. And right now, as I said, you have trees growing out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's plant life over there.
Yes.
So,
Yes, we know.
thank you.
Hi, Pasquale Pellerino, 203. Hi, Marla. Could you address the lawsuit that we settled?
Put the mic near your mouth,
Is there any other lawsuit that's pending against the Parker Dorado? You settled one. Is there any others?
The only other one is Axon, the laundry company, who I mentioned that we had a contract with them to do the work, obviously. So we're trying to see if we can get something from them.
No, we're suing them. Is anybody suing us?
Is
Is anybody suing the
Which
Parker
one?
Dorado other than this Lamar?
Oh yeah, the canopies.
That was a lien. There's a sue. What is
the
it?
lien, no, the lien will be removed from
Right.
from what we negotiated yesterday, and
Is there any other
suing
lawsuits
us.
or liens against?
I think we're done, right?
What would that? That's gonna be my next.
The last lien was from the fire alarm panel company, from Simplex Grinnell.
Yes, that was
And
resolved.
I believe that was settled and
Yes.
the lien was removed.
Yes,
Okay,
it
so,
was.
So we're done with anybody suing the Parker Dorado. There's nothing.
As of now, we're done.
As of now, right?
We're hoping.
And then the what do you call it? The canopies.
Canopies,
Are
yes.
we suing that company for any kind of
We're
credits?
trying. We're gonna try. Yes. As a matter of fact,
We're going to
s-
try, or we're
Yes.
not.
No, we are in the process of suing
We're
them,
at-
yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the obviously the turtle lights. You didn't mention that you were going to negotiate something like that. or
Turtle Nights as
has
well.
that
Yes. Yes, we have to meet with the lawyers on that as well. Yes.
The lawyers.
We're looking at other options. I know Leo was looking at some options to see if we can resolve it somehow, either with, he was just mentioning today, either with an electrician to how somehow maybe reduce the size, lower them, put some kind of shield. We're trying to make it go away. So we planned.
But just to clarify
Yes,
to
and-
Pat, the issue with the lighting is really between the Parker Dorado and the city itself, not with any contractor or anything like that.
Okay, so the city, I know it's complicated with, they issued the permits and et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to negotiate with the city to try to get the
No. Alex, do you want
fines
to respond?
reduced, or?
Yeah, no. So right now, the city is after us because of lighting spillage. So basically, the lighting that we have in the parking lot is spilling over onto another property, and that's what they're coming back on us for. So basically, they want us to rectify that. Now, the question is, how do you rectify that? And at the same time, maintain the proper lighting that is required in the parking lot, but according to the laws, keeping together all of the laws for the turtle code, so on and so forth. So it's a very, very touchy situation, but I'm sure there's going to be some sort of a solution. But we have to get, I believe we need to get engineering involved, because we won't be able to do this on our own.
So is there any indication on these fines that were, being imposed on from last year?
Normally, according to Al, I've asked Al on many occasions, these fines usually become very exorbitant over time. But once you've taken action and you've actually fixed something, you can negotiate them down to just about nothing.
Okay, and what about Eric, the bank that you're negotiating with? Will that be like a total loan for everybody, and then we just go ahead and pay whatever the assessment is, or are we able to negotiate that on our own and pay off a loan, or pay the assessment ourselves, or negotiate it ourselves, or is that going to be done by you and the board and the bank that you settle on?
Right. The assessment will come from, as a condominium, we will be, the condominium association will be the applicant for the loan, and the assessment will be a whole assessment for each unit owner, divided by, just like you pay now your monthly maintenance fees, as a percentage of, of the actual size of your units. I'm working with the bank also, because there are many people who are elderly or on fixed incomes, to see if we can work out lines of credit for them, which they would be able to qualify for on their own at a favorable rate. If they have equity, a home equity loan, for example. Other things, trying just to think creatively outside of the box. I have an insurance background, and not to tell anybody that you should take a loan from your cash value life insurance policy, because those interest rates would probably be higher than borrowing the money from the bank. But we're talking to the bank as possibly utilizing, if anybody does have cash value life insurance, that they could potentially collateralize that as the same way they would collateralize the equity in their home through a collateral assignment, and then be able to get an equity line that way. And those rates would all be worked out, one-on-one, on an individual basis with the individual owners. And the bank is going to come and meet with, once we do announce the assessment, we're going to have the bank here explaining exactly how it's going to work. We're also going to have the Atlantic Pacific, our management company, is going to help us to explain how the assessments are divvied up amongst all the different homeowners. And then the bank itself is also going to meet on a scheduled basis with any homeowners that would like to potentially take advantage of what they're offering, for that personalized lines of credit on, or those equity lines on your homes.
I can't hear anything.
All the plumbing will be done.
Can somebody hand over a mic
That's
to
the
people
plumbing
asking
issue.
questions?
Sorry, Robert?
Can somebody hand over a mic to the people that are asking questions, please,
Just
so
a
we
second.
can hear?
Can you pass her the mic, please, Sarah?
Thank you.
Right.
Still can't hear anything.
Somebody tried getting into my car because I have an NSS on there. So which means I went to the office. I went to the office. They can hear me with my big mouth. Oh.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, fellas. I went to the office and I told Al that somebody tried getting in my car, and he tells me that those cameras don't go over to that wall.
Why doesn't it go over to that pool? That's the pool room there. There's equipment in there. Why wouldn't the cameras go in that direction?
Al, I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. We can look at the.
Does anybody know?
We can't have a look. Yeah, we can't have a camera on every car. I'm not sure exactly where you're parked in the parking, but.
Well, that I know.
They check. Obviously, we checked the videos, see if someone was coming in or out. There was nobody. I'm not sure.
That's number 2. Number 3, the pool. There is so much stuff that goes in that pool. People come in off the beach. They don't wash their feet. They walk over to the pool
Yeah.
and they rinse their feet off in the pool.
Yes,
And we're going to have problems again with the drainage and everything.
Well, before I mentioned that one of the committees that we're going to be forming and meeting next week is the condo rules, the pool, including the pool, and will be setting specific rules, and we ask that everybody do their part to follow the rules, basically. So hopefully that won't happen. People come in from the beach, wash your feet.
And also, I think we should have something for the children.
That's another
Babies,
discussion. I would love it. I have grandchildren, so.
I know, I have grandchildren.
Yeah. We'll look into something, have maybe a blow up or something.
Those are all things that can be discussed.
Robert, yep.
Yeah, those are all things that can be discussed when the committees are set up. But I just want to go back to one question you had, Miss, regarding the cameras in the garage. I'm a little concerned about that one, and maybe Al, you could take a look into that. But I think it's very important to have good coverage in the garage because that's one of the easiest places to get hurt or whatever, and nobody would know anything about. So I think we should seriously look at where those cameras are in the garage and maybe realign them so that we get better coverage in the garages in the building.
Okay, we'll look at that. Sarah?
And
Sarah?
also,
Yep.
also that
Sarah?
people don't get locked in the garage. Sometimes people have been locked in the garage when the big garage door doesn't open and they can't get out.
Locked in the garage. They couldn't get out?
I wanted to mention that on the 17th floor, there is a window that has been blown out maybe since the hurricane.
Yes.
When
I spoke to the owner today. As a matter of fact, she's applied for the permits, and she told me they're going to be done as soon as her permits come in. 1714, yes. I spoke to them today, as a matter
Probably
of
a lot
fact.
of mold growing up there.
I know.
Right?
Yes, I know. I did speak to her today.
Batsheva, did you want this? Batsheva.
Norman, did you have a... Norman had a question. Could you just take the microphone if you don't mind, please?
Hi, I'm Sophie from 918. I'd like to address the issue of coming into the upper garage area. There used to be a mirror, and probably after the hurricane it was put down. So there's no mirror there. It's like a circular mirror. It was rusty and old. I think it needs to be replaced.
Okay.
I think we should have additional mirrors when we come in because there's a lot of people coming in and going out and then coming down the ramp at the same time, and I've seen it many, many times.
Okay.
So I think they have to address that.
Yeah, I could address that if you'd like. Clyde, myself, and Jose, we walked the building the other day with the City of Hallandale Police, and we talked about things just like that. Little holes in the fences and places that anybody can get in or hide out, and the fact that there should be more mirrors and things like that to help people see around angles. And those are all things that we made notes about, and those are easy, inexpensive fixes, and so we're going to address those as quickly as we can.
Last question. My goal was to get everybody out by 8:30. We're almost, we've just surpassed. You'll be the last.
Can I?
Okay, here we go again. All right, I just want everybody to understand something. I've been in the design business all my life. I've been in this, can you hear me? Oh, Norman Berg, apartment 1508. I listen to everybody talking. As many years as I've been in the business, I've always learned you take baby steps. You work slowly, you do one thing at a time, but you do it right. You don't do, as previous boards did, where they upset the whole building and everything was a mess, and we lived for years and years with no pool, okay? So I think we all have to take a step back, whether it's the awning, and relax. Everything's getting done. I discussed the outside with Marla. We were going to do some things to make it more beautiful, but we decided, let's work on the lobby first when you walk in and the security, which was more important. Wait a second, 1 second, I'm not done.
Then we'll worry about the other thing.
Okay, well, I think you could, if you can fund it, we can do it. Now is, well, the question, I like that, mark that down.
Right.
Put that in the minutes. But the point I'm trying to make is the board is working very hard, it's obvious. This is the first board that made sense, seems to be talking to us and explaining everything.
Thank you.
And I respect every one of you because you're all making sense. There's no secrets, nothing's being hidden. We are going to get an assessment. It's probably not going to be small because it's a long list, but we live here, all right? Would we rather have the previous board and other boards in the past that spent money and nothing was done properly, all right? So I think we have to just take a little bit patience. We've lived through this to this point, and let's just be friendly and love each other and enjoy living here because this is the best building.
Absolutely. Thank you, Norman. Yes, thank you. Yes. So in closing, yes, quickly.
Thank you. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Later on, we will find out one thing and another thing, and nothing been accomplished, or a lot of things was done for nothing. It hasn't been done.
Right. Sorry.
Okay?
So we
spend a lot of money.
Yes, your question.
When you announce the assessment,
Yes.
and let's say bulk of money, should we know what we paying
Exactly.
for
It's a good
item
point.
by item?
It's a good question. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how we will be doing it and working with the bank. So, for instance, say we do the upper mechanical room, say it costs, I don't know, $150,000, you will know exactly where the monies go at all times. You won't be looking years later saying, where did the money go? That is our promise to you. So,
It's the only way.
so thank you once again, everyone. It was nice and calm in the room. Please treat this Parker Dorado as your home. Treat it as you would your other homes. We want to make it beautiful again, and especially safe and healthy. And please, let's all follow the rules. Thank you.
And
Meeting
respect each other.
adjourned. Sure.
Can I just?
I wanted to start screaming at people for doing
I wanted to make a
That would
comment.
make me very happy.
Speak loud, Robert. Yeah.
Well, no, it's too late. Everybody's up and moving. What I wanted to do, Alex, is I wanted to tell the people in there that we have a suggestion box downstairs.
Yeah.
You know, like this mirror thing there kind of bothers me. If you have a suggestion box, put your suggestions in the box. Have management email us once a week with what's going on, so we can like ensure that these minor things are done. You know, these are
fast.
These are Pingo Palino things. You know, they shouldn't even come up. You know, especially when I hear that she's advised management to change that. It pisses me off that it's not done. I'm gonna send an email to Al tomorrow. Okay, now what do we do? Don't we have to adjourn or something? Or
She adjourned it already.
we're done?
We're done.
I'm gone.
Go have your cigar.
Buddy, I've never.
Robert,
spent-
Alex.
Yes.
Can you guys go offline and speak? I can't hear the questions here.
Really? We're that loud?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Good night.
I just want to say this is the best hour and a half I spent looking at a man in my life. Good night.
So when you
Night, buddy.
when you see
Bye-bye.
that, can you go to security? Did you go to security?
You know what? By the time I would go down from the 17th floor to the first floor, everybody would be gone.
When was this? When did this happen?
It was either Saturday or Sunday.
During the day?
It was around 4 or 5 o'clock. People with the bags, people with the coolers.
Call them downstairs. I
Yeah, but
Don't give your
anyway.
name, don't give your number, just say, please go out.
Yeah, but anyway, the reason why I'm telling you this, you should check the rules and regulations for the pool. How many people per unit can attend to the pool? You know what I mean? Because this is nonsense. I mean, 2 people it's normal per unit, but not 30